Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Indeed. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.
Shalom family. This is Pierre Ligi, and you're listening to The Remnant Awakens. I'm glad you're here. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been walking this journey with me for a while now. You know, every episode we dig a little deeper. We challenge the traditions and we try to get back to the roots, the real roots of our faith. Today, we're talking about something that's been on my heart for a long time. Storing treasure in the Shamayim, or the heavens. What does that even mean? Why did Yahusha talk about it? And what does it look like for us, the remnant, right now? Let's get into it. So, let's start with the words of Yahusha himself. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 to 21, he says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." I mean, that's pretty clear, right? But if I'm honest, I used to read that and just think, okay, so don't be greedy, don't chase money. But it's deeper than that. Yahusha is talking about a whole different value system. He's saying, look, the stuff you can touch, the stuff you can buy, it's temporary. It's not going to last. And, in the world we live in, everything is about getting more, stacking up, showing off. But Yahusha flips it. He's like, nah, invest in what lasts. And that's not just a nice saying, it's a command. It's a warning too. Because, like he says, wherever your treasure is, that's where your heart's gonna be. So, if all your energy is going into things that fade, your heart's gonna fade with them. But if you're investing in the Shamayim, your heart is anchored somewhere eternal. That's a whole different way to live. Now, let's connect that to something from the Tanakh, the so-called Old Testament. Daniel chapter 12, verse 3 says, "Those who are wise will shine like the brightness of the heavens, and those who lead many to righteousness, like the stars forever and ever." I love that. I mean, think about it. Yahusha says, store up treasure in heaven, and Daniel says the wise, the righteous, will shine like stars. That's not just poetry. That's a promise. It's like the real reward isn't gold or silver or even a big name down here. It's being counted among those who shine in the Shamayim, who lead others to righteousness. And, in a world that's obsessed with being seen, with going viral, with getting followers, the Most High is looking for people who are willing to be faithful, even if nobody's watching. That's the kind of treasure that lasts. That's the kind of legacy that doesn't fade. And honestly, it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it feels like nobody gets it. But as we talked about in that episode on Will He Find Faith on the Earth, the remnant is small, but the reward is eternal. So, how do you actually walk this out? Yahusha talks about the narrow way in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. He says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." Man, that's heavy. Only a few find it. I mean, I don't know about you, but that makes me pause. It's not about being popular. It's not about fitting in. The narrow way is hard. It's lonely sometimes. You might lose friends. You might get called names. You might even get rejected by your own family. But Yahusha never promised it would be easy. He promised it would be worth it. He said, "The narrow way leads to life." That's the path I want to be on, even if it's not crowded. So, what does it look like to actually walk that narrow way? What kind of fruit is Yahuwah looking for in us? Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 and 23 lays it out. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things, there is no law. I mean, that's the evidence. That's the proof. It's not about how many verses you can quote or how many debates you win online. It's about the fruit. Are you growing in love? Are you patient with people who get on your nerves? Are you kind when nobody's watching? I gotta be real. Sometimes I fail at this. Sometimes I lack self-control. Sometimes I easily get mad. But that's the standard. That's what the Most High is looking for. And, as we talked about in the episode on the Church Fathers, it's not about following man-made traditions. It's about letting the Ruach transform you from the inside out. That's the kind of treasure that can't be stolen. So, let's talk about the real reward. You're not just storing up treasure for some far-off day. It's not about getting a mansion on the new earth or, some golden crown. The real reward is being close to Yahuwah. It's hearing Him say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." It's knowing that your life counted for something eternal. And honestly, sometimes that reward shows up now, in peace that doesn't make sense, in joy that the world can't take away, in relationships that are real and deep. But the ultimate reward is being with Him, seeing Him face to face, being part of that remnant that endures. That's what I'm living for. That's what I want for you too. Not just surviving, but shining. Not just making it through, but making a difference. That's the treasure that lasts. So here's the call. Remnant. Don't get distracted by what's temporary. Don't settle for what fades. Store up treasure in the Shamayim by walking the narrow way, by bearing the fruit of the Ruach, by leading others to righteousness, even if it's just one person at a time. Remember, you're not alone. The remnant is small, but we're not invisible. We're not forgotten. And every act of faithfulness, every step of obedience, every moment you choose Him over the world, it matters. It's seen. It's recorded. And one day, you'll shine like the stars. That's the promise. Amen. Family, thanks for tuning in to The Remnant Awakens. I'm Pierre Lidji, your brother from the tribe of Yehuda, and this is The Remnant Awakens. If this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe if you're awakening to truth, and comment below with what stood out to you most. And if you know someone still sleeping, share this episode with them. Until next time, Shalom. See you all on the next episode.
Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking out the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudi.